All right, y'all. Welcome to our second official AMA. I'm joined here by the dev team. We got Scott, Ethan D, Ray, EB McLovin, and Ethan R. Really glad to have them up here with me. I'm Moa. I'm the head moderator here, and I will be leading us on this fun little adventure. So we opened up a AMA questions chat, and feel free to keep posting in there while we do this if y'all have more questions to ask, and we'll get to those here at the end. But I'll go ahead and start with some of the chosen questions that the staff wanted to go over. And so for the first question, we are going to use one of Rogue Dog's question. The first one being, if your intent is realism, what is your approach to weapon smoothing?
That's a good question for Elijah.
Yeah, I can take this one. So, I don't know if you guys know this, but we use weight and physics on the weapons. So, you can't just swing him around as fast as you want. And I've kind of found that jittery effect, if that's what you're talking about, smoothing, that jittery effect you see in a lot of games, it kind of just negates that effect a bit. Just having the physics there. And if we really want to, I mean, we do have some smoothing settings that we can enable. We just haven't really played with those as much, but as it stands, we've kind of taken care of that.
Awesome. All right, next one. How do you plan to implement healing? If per part healing is necessary, is the player notified via a HUD, or do they have to rely on physical models in game?
We actually just we were leaning the physical, like healing each body part for a really long time. But then it comes down to the point where if people have full IK and only have hands only on, right? What we pretty much came down to was it is set in 2044. There is tech in the game that you won't typically see today. We already know there is nanite technology. So your arm HUD will interact after full release. That you can select the part of your body that is injured, or it may, something like that. And you actually do an injectable nanite injection, and you'll have different types of nanite injection tubes that give you different levels of healing and that type of thing.
Sweet, yeah, nanites. That's that's definitely pretty cool. All right, and the next question. If you are adding weapon attachments, are you attempting to simulate the ergonomics of a weapon in its handling, or do the attachments mainly change just recoil and sighting?
That's for Elijah.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's a discussion we really have to have and flesh out the details on that one. But right now, the attachments just kind of affect recoil. I could think of a couple different ways it could affect ergonomics down the line, but that's not really a system that we haven't really gone down that road too far. So,
All right, I think that's fair. It's pretty early on for stuff like that. So, on to the next one. Do you plan on including Tarkov-esque safe containers?
There will be no safe containers in our game. You cannot put anything in your butt. No.
All right, so yeah, you die, you lose everything. It's
gone. Sorry, guys.
zero sum game. All right, long term, what direction do you think you're going to try and bring this game in?
We're really coming into VR with there is no game like this in VR really. That's anything that you can compare it to is all single player based. So we're sort of in undocumented territory, unlike a lot of different games that they release just general FPS shooters. So we're sort of setting the standard for this type of game out the gate, and we don't know where it's going to end. So I can't predict the future, but we are looking at different games down the line that they all tie in storyline wise. This isn't just a one-off game. We all have a pretty good idea where we want to go. Mo and you and I have had a bunch of conversations about it offline, playing other games, and Ray and everybody here they share the passion for the project, which is why all of them are here. It's not just a paycheck, and they can really see the future and the advantages of what we're bringing to VR. And it's going to be on Quest. You're not neglecting 75% of the market. Mm-hmm. So, yeah, I just I'm excited. I can't really tell you where we're going to end, what the end goal is, other than continuing into esports, which I'm very passionate about as a prior esports player on a professional level, and we'll go from there. Thanks for the good question. That was a Rogue Dog question too.
Yeah. That's
He had some good questions, man.
yeah. He has some very good ones here. All right, and on to the next one. How do you plan to implement a report system and punish players for abuse or abusing glitches and bugs?
Give that to Ray.
Yeah, sure. Primarily, that is definitely something we do want to have. I mean, we'll try to prevent cheaters, but obviously, you know, cheaters are always coming up with new tech to cheat. So there will definitely be a reporting system, something that you can find the cheater, you can report him. We will also have moderators, actively searching for cheaters. So there'll definitely be some way to report them, but we still need to investigate more how that will be 100%.
Cool. Yeah, tackling cheaters is tough. As you said, they're always coming up with new ways to break and abuse stuff, and it's pretty damn annoying. All right. If a contractors-esque universal meta is established, how do you plan to resolve it?
Talking about guns, I assume is what Rogue mentioned there. I would like to eliminate metas personally. I think all the guns should be pretty equally balanced, and it should come down to player skill, and then what type of round you're using based on the caliber. So I don't see that actually being a problem, especially with somebody that's very detail oriented with weapons and has such a passion for weapons like Elijah does. So I think that's something we won't really have to worry about, and if it does come to fruition, then it'll be taken up pretty quickly by him.
Yeah, and there's a lot that can be done there too, right? Like we could change how rare something is, how much it costs. There's a lot of paths to go with that one.
Excellent. And
that question that just got asked, the last one by Spoodyho.
okay.
Let's add that to the list. That's a good one.
Excellent. All right, sounds good. Yeah, just as a reminder, I'm kind of just going through these questions. This is for the audience in order of how we just kind of chose them, not in any particular order of if they're good or not. So just keep adding stuff, and as Scott just mentioned, if it's a good question, we'll pick it up and add it to the list. All right, and final one for at least this little segment. What is your planned wipe cycle?
We haven't really said, hey, here's a planned wipe. There has to be balancing, right? For the game to still remain interesting, there has to be balancing. So there definitely will be some wipes. I think Tarkov wipes entirely way too much. I've expressed this, I think, in two MA, the second AMA and the first MA now, as of now. I hate Tarkov wipes. But I understand that they're needed in a game of this nature. So there will be a balancing or a wipe mechanism. It'll probably end up being like myself and Elijah and Infish, the guys on the team that play Tarkov, actually sit down and have a powwow about it and figure that out.
Cool. All right, and on to the next one. Will there be a play-to-earn function where players can generate a token or stable coin while playing?
Absolutely not. Never going to happen. We've answered this a bunch of times. I posted this a bunch of times. We do not support crypto. We do not support NFTs. We will never have either of those. And in my opinion, it is a waste of our time to do that. And for any developer to do that, especially if you're a developer on Steam and you're selling NFTs or relying on cryptocurrency to earn in game, and you're going to get your game taken down because it's against every single one of their guidelines as of this year. So no, we will not.
All right, that's definitely good to keep in mind. How soon will Quest 2 beta be going up? If so, will it be similar to how Into the Radius did theirs in waves?
I'll give that to Ray, actually. That's a good question for Ray.
So our planned early access is March, right? Are they asking when will we be allowing internal testing for quests?
I suppose that's how it's worded. How soon will the Quest 2 beta be up? And if so,
Yeah, I think that's what they mean.
yeah.
So I guess let's clarify the language, Ray. There is no when the beta is when we release. So it's going to be much like a lot of games, guys. When we release the game in full, which we're shooting for Q1 of 2023, most likely March, the game will be in a closed beta, and you will get access to that closed beta by pre-ordering, and that's how you get access to it. And you'll be granted immediate access. So Ray, now that we've clarified the language, Ray can probably clarify when we'll start testing Quest, like in early access.
Right. I'd say relatively soon. We are working ourselves on quests. We're a small indie team, so we try to make the most of time. Right now, primary focus is PCVR, but I'd say in the following couple of months, 2 to 3 months, we will start asking people to be able to test on their Quest headsets. From our initial testing internally, things are looking good. We just want to get some things ironed out, like some things that we already know we need to fix before people start testing it and reporting things that we already know.
Mm-hmm.
Ethan, do you have any comments on Quest since you're doing the lighting optimization stuff?
Not really too much to add to what Ray said, but we are, going through and optimizing things to the point where we know that they need to be, and we are making progress toward making the Quest look pretty, like the PC VR.
Awesome.
I know Ethan too. He's taken strides to get like the lighting to be identical across platforms too, which we feel is very important.
Definitely,
Especially for
it's
terms of gameplay and functionality.
yeah,
Yeah.
especially in terms of gameplay. I mean, if someone on the Quest 2 doesn't have the same darkness level, then what's the point of spending money on NVGs when you can just see everyone?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. There's usually a large discrepancy in quality between the two. So if that's what y'all are pursuing, that's really good. Raising the bar there for sure. All right, we have a couple more pretty good questions in the queue. Let me. Okay, accessibility question. Will there be a crouch button if there is crouching? Will there be a prone button if there's prone? Do you have people doing color blindness testing?
I will let Ray answer this.
Yeah. So we are still investigating prone. I feel like that's something we will pursue after beta launch. Right now, we do have crouching in game. We are aiming for a crouch button. Definitely, there will definitely be a crouch button for accessibility. As far as color blindness goes, we do not yet have anyone testing for that. It is something that we have planned post release as well.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
To add on to the accessibility too, we're gonna do it in a way where it's not, exploitable. Like, we're gonna try to pay attention to that because I'm sure that's some people's concerns.
Awesome. All right. Will there ever be events within the game? Will there be quests? If there are quests, will they be things like get 15 kills with a pistol or find this specific item? Will there be more story-oriented quests?
I like the combination, really. I think you have to have one plus the other. You need a storyline arc of some type that plays, but that will come later on. But the simplistic quest. I'm sorry, it's been a long day. Like get so many kills with the pistol, kill so many Volk, that kind of thing, like a Tarkov style thing. I think that's easy for us to get it. Maybe beta launch, we should be able to have that kind of thing. But like the more storyline arc that will lead you into the following games, yeah, those will definitely come. And Moa's one of the people that are actually helping write that. So there's a team of 3 people that do that for us.
Let's go. Yeah, it's very fun. Been having fun sinking my teeth into coming up with some of the lore. It's definitely a setting that helps write itself, especially if you're interested into this kind of sort of sort of style of gameplay, so to speak. Okay, so that really covers it for all of the written questions that at least we chose to answer before we open the floor. So now I'm going to go ahead and do just that. I'm going to open the floor. So if y'all want to come up here on stage, just raise your hand. I'll pull you up, and you can ask your question that way. And we already got one. How's it going?
Can you hear me?
Yep.
Yes, I just posted in a message in the thing. It was kind of based around end game and like what's the playability of keeping the player coming back once the game is released. Because if you have a whole bunch of people and you want to tailor this to esports, and I know the number one thing about esports is that you have people that literally sacrifice a lot of time just to be number one. So like with time sacrifice, like what is it to keep them coming back once they're at number one, or are they fighting for the leadership spot?
I think that really relies down, on the esports organization that's hosting it, right? Like, there's nothing that we can do to make esport players continue to go back and compete at an esports event. That's prize pools and that kind of stuff is really what motivates those people, not storyline arcs and missions. Because our esport is a completely separate mode. Our competitive mode will not be the base game mode that you all are going to play. It's not going to be like Tarkov Arena. The easiest thing we compare it to is like Hunt Showdown. So that is something that is on the esports organization. There's a ton of them out there. We signed with VREL for very specific reasons. So that's really on them to present the proper prize pool and us, and we'll also be throwing in prizes, cash prizes, maybe some in-game stuff, per season and stuff like that to help VREL out and motivate people to want to be the best in Tabor.
Like, what's the base level game of playability? Like, once you complete everything, like, will there be a standstill? Like I put an example in there, like Zenith. Like the very first day, there was thousands of people in that load screen, and then now if you go there, it's a ghost town just because people got what they want, and they're like, all right, next thing. So like, I just want to know, like 3 months, 4 months down the road, like, will eventually, like, how do you keep people staying in lobbies and fighting people when you go out to the wilderness and stuff?
Well, there's going to be a lot of DLC content.
Okay.
And then you're going to have, not all of the maps are going to release upon launch. This is just not possible. We have so many maps. So those will be coming out, within the first year to keep you always with something fresh, maybe every few months as we can optimize. And Ethan R is a big part of that. Ray and Elijah have their hands in it. Ethan D is our project guy. He's over managing everything for us. And we have plans to make sure it stays fresh and new missions. And we don't. I'm a Tarkov player, man, and I can only tell you how many times I've been playing since Alpha and having to play those same missions every single wipe. Moa and Elijah can tell you, like, it's just mind-numbing to get a Kappa container, and that's just something we don't want to go down that route. And we do have some internal discussions to already make sure that doesn't happen.
Cool.
But what keeps us coming back to games like Tarkov or Hunt or any game like that, though, is the gameplay. It's that dopamine rush and really what's at stake. So hopefully we can cultivate that as well.
Yeah, when you attach real consequences to a game versus, oh, I got killed, let me spend some in-game currency or whatever I earned that round, or not even. Like if you look at contractors, you don't have to have in-game currency. You just pick what gun you want, you run around. You don't lose anything. You just lose the round. But if you've been building for 2 months and you get gear fear, it's an adrenaline rush, and that's what people want.
Yeah, for sure. And is there a way to play with your friends? Like, obviously, I know there's going to be a system built in, but will there be like a guild type system to where, like, for instance, have a Havoc team where we're running 4-man squad against other people?
Yeah, you'll be able to pair up with your friends. Yeah.
Cool. Yeah, I figured.
Yeah, you'll be able to party with them in a player party and go into a server, and then there may be other parties of solo runners and up to 4 people. You never know what you're going to encounter.
Oh, so you can literally go in there one and verse all 4, and then hopefully
so
you just beat them.
A regular raid, right? You're gonna spawn into a map. Let's take Missile Silo for example. It's gonna be one of our smaller maps, and say there's 6 people that can spawn into that map. So if you go in with a team of 3, there may be another team of 3 that spawn, or just 3 teams of 1, or a team of 2 and 1 team of 1, and then you don't know what you're going to encounter. So that's just the regular gameplay. But in comp mode, it will be 4v4s, only 4v4s. But in regular gameplay, I mean, you're going to spawn in unknowingly. And if it's a dead night, or maybe you connect to a server and you're sitting there queuing, after a while, it's going to launch you. You may spawn in. There may be only one other player in the whole map. You don't know. You're going to run into AI and not scabs, but phoenixes, and you're not going to know who's a player and who's not, right? So,
Yeah, for sure. So is the realism going to be more like contractors, or the realism going to be more like an onward-esque to the health level?
I don't consider either of those real.
I know, but I'm just saying, like onward, you can die a lot quicker. Contractors, you can literally be shot 1,000 times. So it's like the realism.
If you get shot in the head, you're dead. Let's put it that way.
Okay, because I heard healing and stuff like that. So it's like if you get shot in the arm, you have a chance to live. So
You do, and we expanded on it last night. Some internal discussions, and Bash, one of our really amazing developers, is going to be putting together a system based off of bone location, if it's a graze wound, how much damage it does, that kind of stuff, where the bullet impacts your actual body based on bone locations.
yeah, cool. Yeah, that's all the questions I had. I got to run out here. I just want to talk to y'all. You know, I love y'all. So bye bye.
Thanks, man. See ya.
Thanks for coming up here.
Yep.
All right. Well, yeah, that was some good questions. If anyone else has anything they'd like to ask, feel free to raise your hand. I'll pull you on up here. Or
Mordak has a question.
Yes, she does. One sec. Invite to speak. There we go.
Hello.
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 All right. Just curious. Not 100% related, but what other VR games, VR shooter games, have you guys played? And like, is there anything you guys really have a gripe about other VR shooters, and anything you like about other VR shooters?
I played just about all of them.
All of them.
Ray is a hardcore Pavlov player. Trying to see. I don't know, Elijah. What shooters have you played?
I mean, I played Pavlov, Contractors, and not as heavy doses as you two.
Yeah, I just don't like the arcadey stuff of it, man. Like that's my biggest gripe. Just too arcadey.
I agree with that sentiment. Like in Pavlov, for example, like I'll turn a corner, mow a couple of people down. They should all be dead, but instead they're not, because like I emptied out a whole clip in like 3 people, but they're still alive, right? It's kind of silly, right? Like you should be able, like to emulate some sort of realism in a game, right? Like if you're a good player, you should get rewarded for that, and I think that's what we're aiming for.
Yeah, I think that's also my issue with other VR shooters, and this is why I'm actually really excited for this project, is because I'm kind of stuck on Onward right now. That's the only tactical VR shooter that's really out there, and the game is also kind of broken in many ways, and the developers were very slow to do anything about anything.
I used to be a team captain of an EU team for about 3.5 seasons for Onward, and it's still definitely, even though I play Contractors now, I'd say it's the only one of the more tactical and only kind of quote unquote tactical shooters out there. So Ghost of Tabor will be very refreshing.
Yeah, it's because it's the only VR games out there right now that like you have to plan things, and and then you can't just run around with a gun. I think that's what the VR industry is like missing. Onward has no competition right now.
Well, they're going to drop Onward too, right? Wasn't that announced?
I have heard rumors
No.
of Onward too. One of my old teammates is actually a developer, and I remember when I left, which was some time ago, he said that they had been developing it and they're really going trying to push it through the pipeline. So it'll be interesting for sure. But then again, it's a game being produced by the same company, so it's like they're really only competing against themselves, which is.
Oh, they got that Facebook money, man.
Oh, they do got that. They got that Zuckerberg money.
One thing about all these games we've mentioned too is that they're all just match-based games, and I mean ours technically is too, but there's a lot to do in the match other than just shooting people, and there's a lot to do outside of the match too, and there's like progression to the game. Like like we talked about, there's a lot of consequences to what we're trying to make. So that fuller experience, I think, is just kind of lacking in VR.
Mhm.
Like all those games are great, but I want something more, and I want a game that's tactical too, like that requires heavy communication with your teammates. And you don't really get that. So you get it a little bit in Contractors, especially for that big update they had. But yeah, I'm just not getting that tactical gameplay a lot in VR.
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to see the project whenever it releases.
Perfect.
I think that's about all I have to ask. I mean, there's another question, but that's probably better in the test text than
Okay.
this one.
Cool.
Anyways, yeah, cheers.
All right, thanks for coming up. All right, we have a couple questions here. So Mordak is wondering if there are any games that are going to follow Ghosts of
Yes.
Tabor.
Absolutely. There's actually, well, I can't. I think we've released the logo, but there will be a game called Aphelion that will be releasing after Tabor, hopefully towards the end of 2023, beginning of 2024.
Definitely looking forward to that. Okay, next question. The Manimal. How good are AI? Will certain AI be harder to kill than others?
I think we're all a big fan of our AI right now, and people that are playing early access. The AI is actually pretty decent, but we will have like bosses, like a boss level AI that will be harder to kill. Yeah, and we announced like the Zeros as a faction that will be strictly non-playable character AI, and they will be like superior kitted and carry lots of good juicy loot on them, but they'll be hard to kill. Yeah.
Sweet. All right.
Yeah, Illa and VR Manimal, exactly.
Yeah. I'm interested. This is from Rogue Dog. I'm interested how you plan to do inventory space and stashes. I don't know what you have in the alpha. Oh, I actually have to. And what you plan to change.
Anybody else want to take that? No.
Well, I guess I mean inventory management. We have a backpack system. I don't know if you guys have played like Into the Radius, but it's very similar or something like that. And then we have like a holster system as well, obviously for all of your gear. That'll be like a sort of like a physical thing that you put your mags and guns into.
As far as your safe house goes, Rogue, I believe that's who asked that question. You'll have different shelves and storage options and gun racks and things like that for you to store your gear in, and different things to create ammunition with, or all kinds of different things. Moa's played in the alpha testing, and one thing that I like to hear is that we've actually tried to make sure even when you're not playing in an active raid, you're still having a headset on and you're still playing in the game because you're spending so much time in your safe house getting stuff going and upgrading that. It is not through menus. It is interactable. There is no menu system in our game as of now besides like your settings menu.
I suppose that's an interesting question from Tiagra, if you want to pick that one up.
We haven't discussed that really. I don't know. We haven't discussed if there's going to be like an offline mode, have we, Ronaldo? Like where you don't have to play against other players, you just want to practice.
Yeah, we've discussed it a little bit, but we haven't really decided what's the final outcome on that. I mean, I do like the idea of it, right? Of having something where you feel less intimidated. But I don't think we've come to a final conclusion on that.
Yeah, I think if we do that, Tiagra, it has to be something to where you cannot extract with loot. A lot like Tarkov does, where you're just learning the game, you're trying to learn the map. It's an offline mode, and there is no. You don't get to keep anything you collect, though. Basically, it's you still play the game, but it's only for like learning purposes. I think that's really the only way we could do it. Yeah.
Excellent. I've got a couple people typing here still. If anyone else has any burning questions and they want to come up on stage, just raise your hand and I will pop you on up here. There we go. There's one.
Hey, can you hear me?
Yep.
Hey, what's up?
I had a question. I'm not sure if this has been asked or answered yet. Are you guys planning on adding a player flea market? And if so, what is your plans for found and raid status on items?
We are 100% planning on a flea market that is actually eliminating any type of real money trading already. We already have that established. As far as found and raid items, I was not a big fan when Tarkov made that move to found and raid items, and there's so I don't really see a purpose of having that system, and especially with not having a safety container or a safe spot or a butt, whatever you want to call it, like Tarkov does. I don't really see a reason to mark something as found in raid or not found in raid.
Cool,
If you own it, you can sell it.
Sweet. All right. Don't see any new questions here in the chat. All right. I'll do a last little call here, I suppose, for questions. If anyone else has some last minute stuff they want to ask, I'll pull you up. Otherwise, feel free to drop it in AMA or general chat. I'll wait here a minute or two.
Yeah, we've got work to do.
Y'all got a game to make.
Trying to make a baby right now.
Oh, well, that's definitely maybe some more sensitive than game making.
No, I mean the baby is the game is the baby.
Oh, okay.
What do you think he meant?
Yeah, what are you weirdo?
Hey, man, I don't know.
Mine's in the gutter.
That's what I get for being sensitive to people.
Yeah.
All right. Tiagra, can we get full body tracking so I can trip someone around a corner? So I suppose, will there be full body tracking?
You have to ask Ray that question.
Full body tracking. I'm sorry. What was?
Yeah, will there be full body tracking is how I will ask that.
At the time of release, we do not have that feature, but it is something we can add further down the line. Yes. At the time of release, we are aiming to have what everyone has at home in their headsets, right? I do know that some people have additional trackers, for their waists, for their feet. We will support some haptic devices and things like that, but upon release, no. Further down the line, yes.
Cool. All right. We have another question here from Chaotic. How much will the game cost when you release the pre-order?
I think we've sort of kicked around the idea. We're gonna have different tiers of the game. And you're looking at Pavlov or less for the launch for the basic edition of the game. So I think Pavlov's like $19.99, $24.99. So we're at that, like right in that area.
Cool. All right. Got a couple more people typing here. I suppose, what does the non-basic game equate to?
So the different tiers will be much like Tarkov, where you get different initial starting inventory and loot, maybe upgrades to your hideout that are already done, or the ability to upgrade from the start. We really took a lot of inspiration from their tier system.
All right.
Ooh, that's a good question from Tiagra.
Yeah, that is a good question.
That's a Ray question.
When placing a mine or a trap in the map, will it be persistent even after leaving?
Yes, it will be persistent. However, our matches are set to take, depending on the map size, but usually around 40 minutes. So it will be persistent for those 40 minutes until someone unfortunately steps on it or gets hit with that trap.
Cool. All right, we actually have an audience member.
All right, I had another question regarding stash and inventory size. So post-raid, is this like a physical stash you put items into? Is this like a GUI? Like, how is that going to be set up for storing items?
It is a physical safe house room. There's different shelves, different gun racks, ammo, different shelving that accept certain types of items, such as food, guns, ammunition. you have to physically extract with those things and place those in your safe house.
And do you have any plans for some extracts like Tarkov where you need to bring stuff with you? Are there like paid extracts or like something you'd need like a paracord for?
We haven't really discussed it, but I think between me and Elijah being the Tarkov players that we are, I think I would eventually like to see that, yeah.
Cool.
He just leaves so swiftly. He's like a ninja.
I know. I don't have to do anything. It's amazing.
I love it.
Okay, the Manimal. I've not seen very many promotional things for this, but will there be gear customization other than patches? Will you be able to rock it in a t-shirt and jeans, even if you're a Ghost or Volk? Will you be able to wear a BDU or a combat utility uniform?
So our customization system will grow after release. To start, you will rock certain types of camouflage and clothing, which we'll have a few different types upon March or Q1 release. But yeah, you'll have different clothing based off of your faction.
Sweet. Here's a question from Lost. Will you have to manually reload like DayZ, or will the magazines be discarded each time you reload?
I would definitely tell you to hang on to your magazines.
That'd be a good idea, right? Mordak, or actually Valak, he goes, will there be regional pricing? I feel like that's a good one.
You mean like different currencies? Yeah.
I suppose so. I imagine Steam does that automatically, though.
Yes.
Okay, and from
I will note that one thing we've talked about, and we'll probably go this route because we're releasing on Epic, Steam, and on Oculus. For pricing wise, it'll probably be cheaper if you pre-order from our website versus them, and you get a key code from us. Just going to throw that out there now when we allow that.
Best to keep that in mind, y'all. Okay, Mordak, if it is a physical safe house, what would happen if you just dropped your loot all over the floor?
Elijah, Ray, you want to take that? Either one of you?
Yeah, so that's a really good question, and it's kind of funny too. So primarily, what we have planned is that you have to actually put your items in the correct place, right? Or else it would not save. Off the bat, we do see the where the frustrations with that could be, like, I don't know, just for shits and giggles, you threw some cans on the floor, and then you come back to see that they're not there when you loaded back up the game. There's definitely something we're gonna have to investigate, but we also don't want it to be so that you cannot, just like come back from a raid and just like, just have everything in your safe house, load up your safe house to the point you can't even walk in it anymore because you just have like loot everywhere. So there's definitely some balancing to do there. So from the start, our plan is to have things in shelves and stuff like that. And if they're on the floor, you'll probably lose them. So don't drop it.
Yeah, go ahead.
No, that was it for me.
Sort of like your inventory in Tarkov, right? It's limited quantity. There's a reason for that, right? We kind of want to introduce that balance somehow.
Sweet. All right. This has been a good duration, so I'm gonna take a few more questions and then
Yeah, just a few more. Yeah.
yeah, and then I'll do some closing comments, and then we'll be out of here. So we'll take these. We'll take these last three. Are you guys planning on having any Twitch integrations or anything for streamers?
I think we're gonna integrate with Live for streamers.
Okay.
Seems to be a pretty good thing for the big dog to do it with for VR, and I'm sure we'll pop out some stuff with streaming platforms. Yeah.
Cool. The next one, will you use an anti-cheat such as EAC?
We will not use EAC because EAC is a horrible anti-cheat, but we will have an anti-cheat system in place.
Awesome. And I'll include that last one in there because it's real quick. But will items despawn in a raid? If not, then can it just be exploited to lag out of the game?
I don't. Maybe Elijah or Ray can answer that.
I don't know how you would lag out a game like that. The items will despawn after the match is over.
Okay.
I mean, it's a match-based game, right?
Yeah, the server will completely refresh and the
Right.
entire thing will.
Okay. And for the final question, is there any melee combat?
Yes.
Yes. All right.
Absolutely. And I play a lot of Blade and Sorcery, so
Yes,
let's
well,
hope we can get to some level
So
like that. but-
Valak's example is, can someone bring in a lot of tiny items and drop them all over, which would cause the server to maybe lag out?
oh, for lagging out and exploiting.
Yes.
Still, even so, your backpack has limited physical space, and I don't think there's anything quite that small that we're gonna. I mean, I'm sure we'll have to probably put some sort of hard cap in there. Like, it might be a little fishy if you have 200 fucking things in your backpack, but otherwise, I don't really foresee that being an issue.
Yeah, someone's gonna bring in like 300 spoons into them.
Yeah, you can fit them. You can fit probably 300 in the bag.
Yeah, we'll probably need some sort of quantity cap in there as well. It's not a bad question.
Max streams, because he's going to end it. Yes, you'll be able to throw knives.
Cool. All right, and
Leave that one in for you.
we'll we'll end it out right there. Unless you guys have any closing comments, I say that's about it.
No, I like to praise the guys, and when I can do it publicly, I like to do that. All the guys you see here, it's not even the full team. I'm looking at the other team members in the chat because I didn't want to be on stage, but everybody's just kicking ass, man. It's a lot of long days and a lot of long hours, and we're doing something in a year that most people can't do in 5 years, and it's everybody's pretty tired. But it's a passion project, and seeing people so interested in the game already when all we released is some videos from Proper, our media guy, like that to me is just outstanding. And it shows that this game is needed. We all 100% believe it's going to be nothing but a success.
Hell yeah. All right. That is a good note to close it out on, y'all. Thanks to the audience members for showing up to the second AMA. That was really badass of y'all. And thanks to the guys for talking and answering all those questions. Till next time, everybody.
Deuces.
Thanks, everyone.
Thanks, guys.